Martha, Martha, you worry and fret about many things. In our day, we could, through modern devices, have freed our life of many things. Alas, although that has happened, we have managed in the process to take on 10 times more. The average person now, as soon as he is alone, is not at all alone. He must catch up with all the messages in creation. It's all material which clogs the mind and takes away the possibility of rest. In formation, I was given a booklet coming from the Carmelite school of spirituality when in the Charter House at Selignac, and there, amongst the things that were shown, was a little design in the dense text of a sister just at the feet of the Saviour, looking up and listening, looking straight into his eyes as he taught, watching and waiting, catching a word. When that was written, there was no question of mobile phones. Alas, even the consecrated life is now plugged in to all the noise in the air. Do we have to have it all? The meaning of the Lord's reply initially probably was referring to the simple fact that one dish was enough. He didn't want a whole 5-course meal. He wanted rather what Mary was giving, full attention. And that could be addressed to us as well. We can ask ourselves, does the Lord right now need a 5-course meal, or my heart, my availability? It can happen even actually for the things of the Lord. Sometimes an interiorized liturgy is that space, whereas something which absorbs the mind and attention with great complication can be a form of liturgical activism. Liturgy is a space where we can also be lost in Jesus and think about him alone. If we think about the rite all the time and not about him, in a way it's defeating its purpose. But then this other thing, Mary has chosen the better part. What is this? Maybe it would be, in our case, the privilege of going through life not having to do everything possible, everything that passes through our mind, but having a simpler life, just with space also to be right before him and gaze into his eyes and wait and watch for the word. Life might be richer from being simpler. And we might also have more to say when it comes to his service. But then this question of having it taken away from her, what does it mean? It can be read on the level of the one thing that will go on forever. Contemplation is already started here, and that will go on. But it could mean, again, that the immediate meaning is fairly simple. She's not going to have this, what she's doing now, taken away from her. Leave her alone. In the Gospel, which can also be read, as well as the one from St. Luke on this scene in Bethany, where the Lord took refuge and consolation in consecrated friendship, there is the other of the consecration of emotions in when he actually performs a huge miracle. But here Martha is instrumental in perpetrating it. But there is, after the Gospel finishes, in the alternative Gospel, a quaint little detail which might pass us by, which hit me greatly in student days, and it was this. She went to her sister, Mary, who was in an interiorized grief, enclosed in her pain, and whispered in her ear, "The teacher or the Master is here and is calling you." That was embroidered on the altar frontal of the church where I was a student in the 70s, the beautiful church of St. Winifred's in Aberystwyth. And it was before the tabernacle, and by the tabernacle was the flickering red lamp. And that word spoke to me, both from the altar frontal, Magister ad est et vocat te, and from the tabernacle, right above it. It was as though the Lord was whispering that very word. And in a place like that, because the church was always open, as they are in this diocese, actually even in the lockdown, they've always been kept open, that is not indifferent. Because the Lord, from the tabernacle, will speak to the heart that's not cluttered by all the bleeps of creation, but just calmly kneels or sits and quietly looks upwards into the eyes, watching and waiting. Marta, Marta, tu ti preoccupi e ci agiti per molte cose. La testa si preoccupa quando si occupa con premura per le cose future, dunque anticipa le cose e le vive già, con ansia spesso, vivendo due tempi in uno, il presente, spesso sovraccaricato, rovinato, e poi il futuro, che sta già calcolando, e non gode l'uno dell'altro, rovina tutto il tempo, perché fuori tempo sempre. E poi ti agiti, le agitazioni del tempo moderno, anche nei consacrati. Siamo anime frenetiche, anche al servizio del Signore. Qualche volta le anime che ci vengono apprezzano il fatto di avere un orecchio che almeno ascolta, che ha tempo. La qualità dell'ascolto si sente. Per esempio, qualcuno che riceve una persona con il telefonino acceso non sta dando tutta l'attenzione possibile, perché la possibilità di essere interrotta è lì. Però con il Signore è la stessa cosa. Mi ricordo in formazione nella Certosa in Francia, mi fu dato da leggere un libretto dalla scuola carmelitana, era nell'ambito del ormai santo mi pare, Elisabetta della Trinità, una carmelitana morta a 26 anni, e lì c'era un disegno in mezzo a questo testo profondo e denso, in cui c'era una sorella, una carmelitana, accanto a Gesù, ai suoi piedi proprio, che faceva niente se non guardare negli occhi. Era lei in basso e lui il maestro era seduto, perché il maestro che insegna si siede, la cattedra dell'insegnante è quello, e dunque insegnava e lei era ai suoi piedi e guardava negli occhi e aspettava con grande sete e attesa questa parola, qualsiasi parola dalla sua bocca. Non era occupata, era tranquilla, vuota, aveva sete. E Gesù chiede questa qualità di ascolto e di attenzione, l'anima che attende. Quando trova un'anima così è molto più libero di donare. Invece quando trova un'anima in agitazione non pare, altrimenti non fa niente a livello profondo, è tutto automatico. Noi stiamo facendo, anche pregando. Attento, io sto pregando, Signore, e poi lui dice forse, sei sicuro? Stai pregando o facendo il tuo coso? Pregare è anche ricevere. Marta direbbe, ti agiti.
Alma Redemptoris Mater, qui per via celi porta manus, Stella Maris, succurre cadentis, surgere qui curat populum, tunc et genus